3 weeks ago, I saw a slogan on the side of a car, and since then, it has not left my brain. DiDi has a new slogan: riders pay less, drivers earn more, and I cannot stop thinking about it. Is DiDi really cheaper for riders and better pay for drivers? I needed to find out. DiDi, the rideshare provider, is owned by DiDi Chuxing Technology Company in China, a mobility technology company that operates app-based transportation services, including the DiDi rideshare, taxis, bike sharing, and vehicle leasing. In 2016, the company acquired all of Uber's operations in China, and by 2018, they were completing 25 million rides a day, almost 5 times more than Uber. The DiDi that we know arrived in Australia, or here in Melbourne specifically, in 2018, when the company was worth around 106 billion Australian dollars. According to Google Gemini, DiDi have over 100,000 riders across Australia and New Zealand, operating in all of Australia's major cities and some regional areas with between 1.5 to 2 million riders. That number may seem like a lot, but when compared to Uber at over 727,000 drivers in Australia alone, with 7.4 million riders, not so much. To really know if DiDi riders do pay less and drivers earn more, I needed to compare it with other rideshares here in Melbourne. But unfortunately, I researched and scripted this at midnight last night after a long day at uni, and so I really only compared DiDi with Uber. They're both the biggest operators here in Melbourne, so I feel like even though I'm not comparing all of them, it's still a decent enough comparison in itself. What I will mention though is another rideshare company, Ola, also arrived to Australia in 2018, but unfortunately ceased its operations in April of 2024. And Sheba, which launched in 2017, is an all-female driver rideshare provider which was created to help women and children feel safer when travelling. They provide subsidised transport for women, children and vulnerable communities through Rides of Hope, partnering with charities to offer discounted rides for those experiencing financial hardships, living with a disability, domestic violence and crisis victims. You can donate to Rides to Hope to help fund journeys to medical appointments, court dates or refuge, and I will leave a link to the page below in the description if you want to check it out and help support their mission. To start this comparison between DiDi and Uber, I wanted to see if it was actually cheaper for riders, and to do this I had to look at their base fare and service fees that they charge them on this website from this website. They broke down all of the prices that DiDi and Uber charge riders from 2023. Uber was the most expensive, with DiDi being exactly 1 cent behind in the distance per kilometre fee and 6 cents lower in the time per minute fee. But now we get to the more intriguing part, the part that actually started this whole video, and that is if DiDi's drivers do indeed earn more. I started by figuring out how much that DiDi takes from its drivers and compared that with Uber. Last month, New Life in Oz looked into how much DiDi takes from its drivers and found in Australia it takes between 20 and 25% commission, which includes the 55 cent to $1.50 booking fee and GST. In 2025 and 2026, DiDi drivers in major cities saw between a 1 and 2% commission drop as competition increased and dynamic commission structures were introduced, aka surcharges, reducing commission to between 15 and 18%, turning $15 trips into $40 trips. Uber, on the other hand, takes 25% for standard and between 27 and 30% for premium, as well as a 55% booking fee and service fee. Not only do they take more from their drivers in terms of commission, but in 2018, Drivers revealed to the ABC that they risked deactivation if they didn't sign a new policy introducing upfront pricing for riders. They accused the company of wage theft as the new estimated pricing was frequently too low, ending in the drivers being left with a significant drop in their weekly earnings. Uber was also being a little bit shady, hiding the price from drivers until the trip was completed, meaning that they didn't know how much they earned until they dropped you off at your destination. This led to the Fair Work Ombudsman investigating into whether Uber was misleading its employees by labelling them independent contractors so they didn't have to pay minimum wage. In 2019, the Ombudsman found that the relationship between Uber and its drivers was not an employee-employer relationship. They looked into the drivers' contracts, log-on and off records, ABN documents, and interviewed both drivers and Uber Australia, and found that there is no formal or operational obligation for the drivers to work, making them clearly independent contractors and not employees. Since then, I'm not really sure if there'd been any changes, and I couldn't find anything online directly from Uber or news sources, so I asked ChatGPT.
I am shocked and appalled.
Chat said they'd actually doubled down on the upfront pricing policy, and I'm guessing that this is because the Ombudsman can't get involved as the drivers are not technically employees, and if they were going to face any consequences, the drivers would have to take them to court themselves. In 2022, they apparently rolled out a new version of upfront pricing, one that shows drivers' estimated earnings before the trip starts. Yet even Chat says it looks more transparent up front, but the calculations itself is less transparent. Earlier this year, Baraka Car Rentals did the exact same comparison that I'm doing now, and found for a driver working the average work week of 40 hours and driving around the western suburbs of Melbourne, Uber drivers are estimated to make between $950 to $1,200, and DiDi drivers between $900 to $1,100. This is because of the high customer and driver volume that Uber has over DiDi. Remember those Gemini numbers I showed you at the start of the video? To summarise, mostly because scripting Amy wanted to go to bed, DiDi is cheaper for riders and somewhat better pay for drivers. It's clear that riders do pay less when using DiDi, but only by 1 cent. And I believe this was done deliberately so they could say they were cheaper, but still keep similar profit margins to their competitor Uber, which, I mean, if you think about it, it would be all of DiDi's cars and compare that to 100,000 Uber cars. Looking at the treatment of drivers by Uber with the upfront pricing policy, them doubling down on it, then a few years later bringing out a new policy with kind of but not really transparent estimated pre-pricing for drivers, DiDi does come across as the better rideshare service for drivers. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they will earn more. Maybe they should change the slogan to "Riders pay less, drivers have better working conditions." And I guess the pay isn't that bad with the reduced commissions that was introduced last year and the start of this year. In terms of earnings, because Uber holds such a strong market here in Australia, it is actually more beneficial for drivers to use that service instead. However, the Baraka Car Rental website did say that the best deal for drivers was if they used both services at the same time. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this, and if you use DiDi, why do you prefer it over Uber or other rideshare companies? I'm personally an Uber girl myself. I think it's just because I've been using it for so long that it's just more of a comfortability thing. But after this video, I might make the switch to DiDi instead. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it insightful. I, for one, will be able to sleep at night without having that slogan repeatedly going round and round in my head. If you liked the video, please press the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I publish every Monday, so you know you'll get a video from me at the start of your week. And I will catch you guys next week.